Right, so hello everyone. So I'm Tilna Siri, and today we are going to talk about this Unreal Engine gameplay framework classes. So this is continued from the last session we did on basic introduction on for blueprints, and now we are going to pick up from that point. So these are the things that we are going to cover today, not just the not just a lecture. We are more like this should be more like a hands-on session, so you guys can also follow along with me. So these are the goals. The identify the gameplay framework classes, present the gameplay mode class and its default classes, and explain the player controller and player state classes, and present the pawn class and some subclass, introduce the instance and game session classes. And these are the outcomes. I'm not going to read out. And also you guys have downloaded this presentation as well, right? Saradi has already shared it with you guys, so you can refer to
Yes, we have
this.
downloaded
Yes,
all
we
classes. We have downloaded.
Great, great. All right, and let's start. So first of all, I would like to create oh wait, I haven't shared the screen with you guys, right? Right, let me share the screen. Okay, you guys can see my screen.
Yes, we can
yes,
see.
we can see.
Yeah, we can see.
Great. Now let's start a fresh Unreal project to follow along with this session. So fire up your engines and let's create a new project. My engine is still starting up, and actually I'm going to use Unreal 4.26, but even if you have a different version, it's okay, you can follow along. There are not much difference in these engines, 4.24 to 5, so you can follow along in any engine you have. Okay, let's wait for the engine to start, and until then let's take a look at this first slide. So here we are going to introduce the common classes. Actually, I briefly introduced you the common classes we have in Unreal when we create a blueprint. So you can see all the classes are extended from object. So object is the main parent class, and from the object we have extended actors and actor components, and from actor component we have scene component, and then from the actor we have controller, game mode, pawn. From the pawn we have character, and from controllers we have player controllers and AI controllers. So right, engine is,
Sorry to interrupt.
yes,
Sorry to interrupt.
yeah, of course,
What is the difference between actor component and actor?
yeah, I'll explain you when I open the engine.
Okay. Yes.
So for example, are you familiar with like um, yeah, actor component is basically something that you can attach to actor. So for example, if we say some actor, like some actor is something that we can place in the level, an actor component is something that can reside inside the actor. So we can just drag and drop an actor component into a level.
Hmm.
We can add actor component into actor. For example, like a movement component or any other scene
Yes.
component. Yeah, it would be much clear in when I explain it with an example. Okay, my engine just started. Let's create a new project and you guys can do the same. I'm going to use this third person template and with starter content. Lecture session 2. Create.
That character, same character what we have created in previous time, right?
Right.
That character actor for that. So what we were doing, we were trying with pawn and we are trying with character both. It's coming with the collider plus uh, like empty actor. But when we are bringing character, it's coming with a bib model. But both of them, we have to add camera. So making it third person.
Alright, so yeah, here is what we get when we open up our project. And now let me show you each
Uh,
of these classes.
I have one more question. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
If
sure.
you are creating custom class, so custom class camera, we want. I want to rotate my camera in all direction, like all 360-degree,
Hmm.
as a third person view of
Okay.
character. So that I want that camera movement also. So what all things I can add for that?
Well, actually, you can rotate the camera even here in 360 degrees all around the
Yeah,
frame.
but I tried to create a custom character
Hmm.
and my camera is not rotating all 360 degrees. I don't know why.
So how does it rotate?
It was not rotating at all. I put it in one position. It was following in one position only. It was not rotating. It was not
Then it is
moving
more
also.
likely you there is something wrong with your uh, mouse input setup.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can actually refer to the way that the camera is set up here
Okay.
in the third person character.
Okay.
That would help. Right. Okay. Um, Here is the third person character when we open it. And yeah, object actor. So this character class, this is what the character class is the parent class of this third person character. So here we have a mesh, a camera boom, a camera capsule component. So this is an actor actually, even though this is, yeah, the character is also extended from actor and it is extended from object. Therefore, character is also an actor. So that's why we can place it in the word like this. And to an actor, we can attach actor components. Here, we have actor components and scene components. So in this actor, we have this character movement and we have these other components like camera and mesh. So mesh is so for these actor components, they don't have a like, they are like behaviors or properties. They don't have a location or local rotation, local location or local transform when attached to the character. But these mesh and other arrow components, they are like visual components. So they have a location, basically a transform. So they are scene components. So that's the difference. So actor component can be something like some behavior or some attribute that can possessed by a character or any other actor blueprint. and the scene components could be something like a part from that actor. So like this mesh, or if we add some other cube or some other object into this character, so it's more like that. Right. And controller. So the controller means like when we have a character in the world, for example this one, either this has to be controlled by a human player. So that's what happens right now. I can control it, and if not, it should be controlled if they, let's say there are other objects, other characters in the world, and player can't control all the characters same time, so they should be controlled by an AI. So that's why this controllers has two types: player controller and AI controller. Okay. And game mode. The game mode class is used to define the rules of the game. The game mode also specifies the default classes that we used for creation of pawn, player controller, game state, HUD, and other classes, as you can see in this image. And each level can have different game mode. If a game mode is not specified for the level, it will use the game mode that has been set for the project. In a multiplayer game, the game mode only exists only on the server and it is not replicated to the client. Right, let me explain this in here. So now in this level, if you go to the world settings, there is nothing assigned to the game mode, none. If you don't have the world settings, just go here, window, and click on this world settings. It will bring up the world setting window. Right, and here we have actually manually placed a character, and when you place a character or a pawn, there is an option to possess it when we automatically. Here we have set auto possess player to player 0 here. So that's why when we start playing the game, we automatically can control that character. Right. So if I remove that option, let me disable the auto processing. So when I play the game, oh, I can still go. No, actually, this is the character there was before, and this is another character spawned in this player start location. So here what happens is, so we are not controlling this character, and also we haven't assigned a game mode. So when we don't have a game mode, as it is stated here, if a game mode is not specified for the level, it will use the game mode that has been set for the project. So here, if you go to the project settings, here no, maps and modes. Here under maps and modes, you can see default game mode, and the default game mode is set to third person game mode. And if you expand this section, you can see default pawn class. That means the character that will be controlled by the player, and a HUD class, player controller class, and game state, player state, and spectator class. So we will be explaining those classes later. So this is the game mode used by this level, since we have not assigned any other type. Okay, so now I'll just select third person game mode, so we can see the same options here, and we are using the third person character when we start playing the game. And if I set it to none, Let's see what happens. So we can just see the level. I guess this is the 000 location. Yeah, this is the skylight. It's not actually. So yeah, where here this is the 000 location. When we don't have, we have specified none as the default clone class. This is what happens. So you don't have a controllable character. Okay, are you guys clear up to that part? Do you have any doubts? Great. Did anyone ask something?
Can we customize like modes also with help of blueprints? Oh, as we have HUD is there. So can we customize that? Like HUD should follow a character or something like that.
Um, what do you mean? I'm not clear. Customize
In third person mode we have HUD heads up display. So can we customize that HUD heads up display also? Like there is a
HUD.
flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean the UI HUD, of course. So
Yes.
actually, basically, basic HUD class we have by default is this one. So and
Yes.
in here we have different sections dedicated for the HUD. So yes, we can of
Hmm.
course have um, different HUD. Like let's
We can
create an
customize it.
example
Okay.
later on.
Yes.
Health bar and
Okay.
other anything that we want to print. Okay, so let's see what are the other options we have for the default clone class. Let's try this spectator pawn. Right, now this is a default spectator class, pawn class, so we can just move around the level when we play the game and look at the level. So that's what now we are controlling by the player. Okay, and if I again set this to third person character, when we play the game, we will be a third person character will be spawned and it will be possessed by the player controller. Um, yeah, okay. What else? So here actually we don't have any HUD. Uh, this is the default HUD, but we can create a custom HUD uh, and assign it so that HUD can contain like a health bar or any other thing you want. We will do an example later on that. And player controller class. So this defines the player control actually that will be used to control whatever the character possessed by the player controller. We can of course extend that and create a custom one too. And yeah, next one is game mode. Yeah, sorry, no, not game mode. Yeah, we already explained this part. Game state is a class that is used to keep track of variables that represent the current state of the map, and it is shared with all the clients in a multiplayer game. The basic idea is that game mode defines the rules on a server, whereas the game state manages the information that changes in the game needs to be sent to the other clients. So here we have this game state base as the game state. We can of course create a game state class in the way we need and assign it. Same goes for the player state. So when you do an example, I will be explaining more on these things. Right.
Game state, we can use it for data mining of a game or for creating a leaderboard or something like that?
Um, well, for the visual part of the leaderboard, we can actually use the HUD.
Okay.
But yeah, to maintain the variables or any data that you have to have in order to make a leaderboard or anything, you can use the game state to keep that
Okay.
data. Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
sir,
Thank
game state is only a thing which holds variables of the game.
Um,
Right? It just has all the variables which are present in the game as of now and updated variables. Is that what game state is basically?
no, actually, not just variables, we can even have functions there when we customize. Uh, so usually the game state class is used to keep track of the variables that represent the current state of the game. So that's the intended purpose of the game state.
Okay.
But when we customize and code, yeah, we can do all kinds of things. But what is intended for purpose is this,
Oh, mhm.
right? And the player controller. So yeah, the controller class has two main subclasses, the player controller and AI controller. Yeah, if you remember this here, controller, player controller and AI controller. So AI controller can control the characters without input of the player, and player control is used to control characters using actually players input like mouse and keyboard. Okay, so right now let me set the default pawn class to the spectator pawn. So this is what we have when we start playing the game, right? Now if I go to the blueprints and open level blueprint, here let's create an event when we press not enter. Let's create an event when we press the keyboard key 1, right? So now when I press 1, what I am trying to do is I want to possess this third person character we have here, and we should be able to control it. So here let's add a print, let's call it possessing the, let's say, TPS character. And you can see in the slide, so this is the way to possess another pawn by the player controller using this possess node. So we can access the current player controller in the level using get player controller class. So this player controller, we will be using this player controller class as specified in the game mode. So an object to that class will be returned using when we use this get player controller. And here we can use possess. So we have to give which class, which object we need to possess. So I want to possess this third person character, and you have to select the third person character here. And after that, when you go to the level blueprint and right click, you have create a reference to third person character. Do that and you will have a reference to that character and use it as in pawn and compile. Right now, after playing the game, now we start the game with the spectator pawn. That's why we can move around like this. And if I press 1, the control is switched to the third person character. See, so I can control the third person character. If you press 1 again, it will be again processed and reset the camera location. Alright, so is that part clear?
Telina,
Yeah,
sir, can you repeat it, please?
the blueprint
Blueprint.
part.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so here what we are doing is when we press the keyboard key 1, I'm going to process this third person character to the existing player controller. So when we start the game, we have set the default pawn class as the spectator pawn, right? So that's why when I play the game, I get to spectate. And when I press 1 in the keyboard, you can see this processing TPS character message appeared. And now I am controlling the third person character.
If we want to move our character in specific direction, like in X direction and Y direction only, we don't want him to move all 360 degree. So what we can do, we have to add like coordinates or
Now if you go to the third person character here, under event graph, you can see where the movement input is added. It's in
yes.
here. So as the world direction we give, so this move forward, this
Yes.
move forward is defined under input and axis. When we press W, it's +1. When we press
Yes.
S, it's -1. Similarly
Okay.
for arrow keys and other controller keys. So when we
From where we are getting this option?
right, you can go to the settings and project settings. There we
Yes.
have input
Okay.
and
Thank,
axis mapping.
thank you.
So
Yes.
usually, so I
Thank you.
guess you want to move the character only in a particular axis, as you
Yes.
mentioned. Yeah, only
Yes.
along the red or the x-axis.
Yes.
And when you press S or D, you only want the character to move inside sideways.
Yes.
That's what you meant,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Then we can simply go here. So instead of this world direction, what we can give is, let me break this for now. And here you only want to move it in the x direction. So
Yes.
define the
X-ray.
direction as x. And for the other
Yes.
move right axis, that means S, A and D inputs, break this,
Mm-hmm.
give Y, right?
Yeah.
Now
Yes.
when you play the game, when you possess the third person character, even if I am looking at this way, when I press W, character will be moving forward. When I press S, it
Yes.
will be moving backward. And here
Yes.
when I press A, it will be moving this way. When I press D, it will be moving that way. When I press both, it will be moving diagonally, because
Diagonally. Okay.
you understand that part, right?
Yes. I understood.
Great. Okay, so I'll reconnect these directions. If not, we will not be able to move in any other directions other than diagonal or left right. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So okay, and now let's add another controllable character. So we only have as the default pawn class a spectator and third person. Let's go to this add door import and add features or content pack. And let's add this vehicle. and add to project. You guys can do the same. So now when you do that,
Can you repeat that process, please?
yeah,
One more time.
add or import, add feature or content pack. Then under blueprint feature, we have this vehicle.
Okay.
Select it and add. Got it?
Yes, yes, got it.
Great. Right. And now under vehicle BP, here we have a different game mode for vehicles. Let me just change to vehicle game mode. And when I play, you see, right, we get the vehicle class. And here we have a simple HUD that shows the speed and the gear we are using. So you can see as the HUD class here we have used vehicle HUD. If I open it, this is the way it renders the information into the UI, HUD of the game. No need to understand this part at the moment, I'm just showing you as a reference. Right, now let me change this back to the third-person game mode. So yeah, we will start with the spectator. Let's add this sedan character, so this is a pawn actually. If you go to the sedan blueprint, this is extended from wheeled vehicle and it should be extended from the pawn. So this is not a character class, because if it is a character class, there should be a capsule component and a character mesh. So yeah. Now if I go to the level blueprint, so what I want to do now is when I press 2, I want to possess this vehicle. So instead of moving around with the character, I can move around the level driving the vehicle. So here I'll add a print string and I'll call it possessing vehicle. And similarly we can just copy, we can get player controller and drag a line from this and possess. Now here we want to possess, control the vehicle sedan. So select this and go back to the level blueprint and create a reference to sedan and give it as the end pawn and compile. Now when you play the game, you will be starting with the spectator pawn, because that's the default pawn class, and if you press 2, now you can control the vehicle, right? And here note that the HUD didn't appear because in the game mode we are still using the third-person game mode and HUD class is HUD, it's not the vehicle HUD. So that's why we don't get the details, speed and the gear rendered into the window, into the view. And if I press 1 again, we can control the third-person character. Right, clear?
Selena?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you open the blueprint editor once?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, the thing is, you are given input is the Z, right? Something 2 or something.
Yeah,
Input.
2. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 you are given. After that, print string is the just printing the string. That's it, right? Display on
Yeah,
the viewport. That's
yeah.
it, right? After that, you are given to the get player controller. This is the class, right? This class is inherited from pawn or what? This one,
Get
get
player
player controller.
controller.
Yes.
In the game mode, we have defined the player controller class.
Okay, okay,
So
okay,
the
okay.
player controller is extended from actor and controller and player controller.
Okay, 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 I got it. And can you show me the
Blueprint.
blueprint data?
Yeah,
Yeah. After that, you are differential from the this one. Whatever we selected in the
yeah.
whole data. This is the process is what procedure written or what process?
Possess means like uh, this function defined in the player controller.
Okay.
So what it does is the player controller process means player controller start controlling this given pawn. So here
Okay.
we have as the input we have given the third person character. So when we call possess on with character, the player can start controlling the third person character. And if
Okay.
I give the sedan, player can start controlling the sedan car we have here.
Okay.
I have one question. Like, we are not giving this blueprint in a character, right? We are giving in apart from, I think, in class blueprint or something like that. Where
Uh,
we are giving blueprint actually, where we are adding.
yeah, we are using the level blueprint.
Okay, level blueprint. Yes, yes, yes.
So
That's it. Because when we
actually,
are using process, I think so. We are not actually creating proper control for a character. We are just possessing it, right?
yeah,
We are
yeah.
like superimposing that. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
are using the default player controller. Actually, uh, in the default controller, we have everything we need to bind inputs and get it. So,
Hmm. Got it.
like, unless you want to have some custom behavior, we can use it.
So I have one question.
Yeah,
So when you sometimes if you make an error and by mistake if you delete a third person character,
delete.
okay, the blue
Oh, okay.
delete, okay, like you made a mistake or something and it's become all haywire and you delete the third person character. So many times I've tried, like if it gets deleted, and if I'm trying to download the third person character or a vehicle, blueprint, whatever, from
Mm.
the featured content, if I delete a third person character, it never reappears on my. So is it like a bug or what? I'm always can't really, like if you delete a third person character now from your content browser
Mm.
and you try to re-download that thing from the featured tab, it doesn't appear anywhere in the.
You can, okay, shall we try that?
I would not suggest it, sir.
Uh, no, if any case, let me make a backup. No, actually, I think no. So here, if I delete this, let's do
Yeah.
it. Okay, now we don't have, and this reference is also should be gone in the level blueprint. Yeah, unknown. It has changed to unknown, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, free, with one we can't actually process. With two, it still works. So now,
Yeah.
I think if I just again import the third person, the character should come back. It doesn't.
That's the problem. So a lot of times I've faced it. That's why maybe I want to ask you that.
Yeah, but we can.
Oh, is
Hmm.
it hidden somewhere? Like, is it like one of those engine files or something? Is it like there?
Yeah, we can. Let me open this folder in the Explorer. We still have the third person character here. Alright, so maybe if we just restart the game, the project, it should appear here.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Let's try that. Let me
Sorry.
open the. No, it's okay. We have to do try and see. Let me close and save and open. Now it's there. See?
Okay. So you have to just restart it again.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much.
And now we can again, if we want that behavior still, we can, instead of this unknown, change to third person. We have.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now the behavior is restored. If I press 2, we can control the vehicle. If I press 1, we can control the character. Right.
Also, sir, one more thing. I just wanted to say that I'm a big fan of yours. I didn't realize that, but I've been listening. I just heard your voice properly now, and I've been following your tutorials at the open world tutorial on
Right,
code.
right.
Is you?
Yeah.
It's you. Okay. I've been following your tutorials for 1 year now. So yeah.
So you didn't realize it was me before.
Yeah, no, because now I realize with your voice, I can realize it. That's why I went and checked your site.
Right. Great. Okay. So we were in which slide? Player controller. Right. The next part is player state. Class is used to keep track of the information of a specific player that needs to be shared with the others in the clients in a multiplayer game. The player controller exists only on the clients, while the player state is replicated to all the clients from a server. What that means is the player controller takes care of handling the inputs of the player through the keyboard or any other controller, and because of that, when we are in a multiplayer game, we have to handle that part locally actually. So that's why player controller exists only on the clients. So if in a multiplayer game, so it's no points exist in the player controller in a server, because server is actually not processing the player input, and the player state is replicated to all the clients from the server. So that means, let's say this is one character, and this is another character, and this is another character. So when we play, this is our character. These are the different characters controlled by other players in a multiplayer environment. So even if we don't need their controllers replicated to other instances, we still need to know, let's say for example, the health level of this character and that character. Those informations are required in the clients, because that depends on the logic of the game. Like if we want to kill them or if we want to interact them, we need to know some details about those characters. So those details that we need to replicate to all the clients, we keep them in the player state. To use a new blueprint based on the player state class, you must set it in the player state class parameter of the game mode. So yeah, if you need to create a custom player state, you can create one by extending the player state. Here we don't have it under these common classes, so start typing player state and we get the player state. If you select this and create, we can create a custom player state like this, and you can actually assign that to custom player state, and you can override or have a custom behavior or do anything you want here, or create variables, additional variables. Right.
What all things? Sorry to interrupt. What all
Yeah.
things we can add with custom, like custom player state? What all things we can do? Like we can add
Uh,
only like player health bar or something like that, or we can do something
no,
more.
not actually health bar, maybe the health level, because
Okay,
health
health.
bar is just a visual component. The health level is the actual attribute. So yeah,
So what all things we can do with the
yeah, we
players?
can add perhaps a health level, or perhaps if you have like coins, so basically anything that the other players in a multiplayer game needs to know about,
Okay.
because the player state is replicated to all the clients.
Mm-hmm.
So basically anything the other clients needs to know about the character, we can include it in the player state. So
I have
actually,
one.
yeah, actually
Yes.
what you need to include depends on the design of your game.
Hmm. Okay. Understood.
Is the player state per character or is a general state of the player? Sir?
Yeah, it's not a character, it's, yeah, it's basically the
No,
state of the player.
I know. I'm saying it's for individual character. Is it for individual character the player state,
Yeah, yeah.
or is it the entire game?
Yeah, a individual character means like when I play the
Like player
game,
one, player three, like that.
it represents the state of my character.
Okay.
And
Okay.
if it is a multiplayer game, let's say you and I both play the game, and
Okay.
the player state in my instance of the game represents the state of my character, and player state in your instance of the game represent the state of state of your character.
So every individual character's player state will be stored in that character itself.
Yeah, every individual player characters,
Yeah. Yeah.
not for NPC characters.
Okay.
Right.
I have one more question. Like, if you want to change our controls from keyboard to swipe or to a game joypad or something like that,
Hmm.
so from where we can do that?
The inputs here,
Yes, inputs.
under input,
Hmm.
here is already assigned gamepad, left thumbstick, so you can
Okay.
just
We have mouse, like we have that swipe also for mobile,
mm,
swipe or drag or something like that.
5, I'm not clear. 5.
If we want to make controller for
Mm.
mobile phone, so can we add something swipe or drag or something like that?
Yeah,
Tap.
yeah, yeah. um Actually, under touch we have this is like the presets. So if
Mm-hmm.
you want like swipe behaviors, mm, now this is, see, this is Android back button, volume up
Yes.
button, volume down button,
Yes.
uh, gesture. Here we have pinch, flick,
Print.
rotate.
Okay. Got it.
So yeah, and
Yes.
also if you want to like have a custom behavior like two fingers touching at the same time or something, you can
Mm-hmm.
combine these inputs and do a
Mm.
check and define a custom input.
Okay.
Right.
Mm.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, the player state is that, and the pawn, yeah, we already talked about pawns. The pawn class represents the physical body and the controller class represents the brain. Yeah, controller is like the brain of the character. Mhm. Yeah, if you select this third person character, now let me delete these additional characters. if you select the third person character, there is a section called pawn. Here, and here we have few options. Use controller rotation pitch, auto process, can affect navigation generation. So if these are true, if I let me possess this character, so when I start playing, I will be starting with this character. And if I turn on this use controller rotation pitch, you can see the character is tilting. So here what happens is, in the control rotation, when I look up and down, we have some particular pitch rotation for the controller. Let me print it, and the tick, let's say the event tick, and let's add the print node here, and we can get control. No, let's do that in the third person class itself. It would be more clear. Here we don't have a tick. The reason to use tick is because the control rotation can change in every tick. Event tick and print. Here I'll print the control rotation. The control rotation means, in this case, when I look down, it's like controller looking down. When I look up, it's like controller looking up. So we can access the controller's rotation like this: get control rotation, and we can print it here. And if I play the game now, when I'm looking, you can see P stands for pitch, Y stands for yaw, and R stands for roll. So pitch, and when you select any of the transform components, you can see rotation X, Y, Z. In the rotation, X means roll. Sorry, no, X means pitch, Y means roll, and Z means yaw. So those are the names we use to represent rotations. So that's what it states here as: P is pitch, Y is yaw, and R is roll. So when I look this way, you can see yaw is changing. Yaw means rotation around Z axis. So when I look straight, it's 4, that means closer to 0, the yaw part. Let me draw a simple diagram. Did you understand what I'm saying? Yes or no?
No, we
Yeah,
are getting confused. Like full body is tilting down, so we
yeah.
are
No,
getting.
actually, let's understand the yaw, roll, and pitch first. Okay.
Yes.
So when we take this character, you can see the rotation is 0, 0, 0. So if I change this Z component, this is yaw. Z component is, in terms of rotation, we call it yaw. So when I change it, you can see character rotates around this blue axis. and the red axis, the x-axis, when I change it, it is called roll. So you can see character is like rotating around it. And y means pitch, so character can look up and down. Got it?
Yes, got it. Got
Okay.
it.
So 0 means look straight forward, and when I set it to 90, it looks straight to the right. This is the, let's say this is the north or forward. And if I set to 180, it looks back. If I set to 270, it looks this way. And if I set to 360, it again looks forward, right? So this is same as 0. 360 and 60 and 0 is same, looking forward. And when I play, now the controller is directly looking forward. That's why pitch is 0, yaw is 0, roll is 0. You can see these numbers here, right?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. And if I start to look slightly upward, you can see pitch is increasing, right? Now pitch is 40.
Pitch and your both are changing.
Yeah, actually, because I
Yeah.
can't really limit the control to the mouse in that
Okay.
accuracy.
Okay.
Yeah, and also you notice this character is also looking upward, right?
Yes. Yes.
And when I look down, the pitch goes from if I look completely above, the pitch should be like 90, but I can't do that. Oh, I can. Now we are looking upward. And when pitch becomes 0, now character is again straight,
Yes.
character is looking forward. And if I look down, you can see character is also looking down, turning down, and
Yes.
pitch goes from 300, from 0 it goes back to 360.
Yes. Around
Yeah,
three.
yeah. So that's because here if I change the pitch to 90, character would be looking like this. And if I change the pitch to 180, character would be looking back like this.
Yes.
And 270 means looking down, and again 360 means looking again forward. So 350 means something like this. Understood?
Yes. Understood.
Okay. And here under the font section, I have enabled this use controller rotation pitch. Now that's why when I look up, character is also looking up. When I look down, character is also looking down. And so for a third person character, this is not actually useful. But if it for something like a first person character, this is useful because
Yes.
whatever the direction we are looking at, we should see our hands in the viewport. So for a first person character, that is useful. For third person character, it doesn't make much sense. And if I enable this use control rotation yaw, now without moving, as I look to the left or right, you can see the character is also rotating.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So we can use these options, but again for a third person character that's not suitable because it doesn't look real, right? And
We can use first person. I think so. Both
yeah,
of this.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
And for the roll here, actually we can't like using the mouse we don't really have a way to apply some role, because the mouse can move only in horizontal plane. We can either move in x direction or like we can't move the mouse up and down or something, right? You get it what I'm saying?
Ah, yes, I got it. I
Yeah,
got it.
yeah. So if there is a way to give another dimension using the mouse, we can actually do something like turning the character like to the left or to the right, not turn, like rolling the character like a plane. So yeah, this roll is important for like something like a plane that you control, a flying
Yes,
character maybe.
yes. Okay, got it.
Okay, so for now, even if I enable it, it doesn't show any difference, and can affect navigation generation. So this means like when there are npc classes, we have to have a nav mesh. If I just place a nav mesh, and if you press P, you can see this green area. This is the generated nav mesh. And when NPC classes or AI characters find paths, it uses this generated nav mesh data. So this green area represents the area that can be walked by a AI character. And if I turn this on, can affect navigation generation. So when there are AI characters, so now this area is turned into red. So that means this AI characters will try to avoid, when they find paths, they will try to find a path around this character, not just players, around this character. So they will not bump into each other.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you give us a one like glimpse of it? How we can do it?
Uh, you mean like set up a AI character?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, okay. Let me create a child blueprint from this third person character. I'll call it third person character NPC, right? And usually now under the third person character and under pawn, we can assign an AI controller class. So we can create a custom AI controller class and assign, of course, but even without AI controller class, we can just ask the character to randomly move, like AI move to. As the pawn, I'll give self. Self means a reference to this character itself. And as the destination, we can give some location. Let's say
Top of those stairs, like it moves top of those stairs. Can we do that?
yeah, sure. So we need to find the location of that place. Let me
Hmm.
place a cube,
Okay.
and the location is 450, 20, 350.
Okay.
I'll give 450, 20,
20,
350.
350. Yes.
And now I'll delete it because the character will not be able to reach that point if it is there. And I'll place the NPC character here. And if I play now, you see, character is going over there.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right. Now let me remove this tick. It clutters the viewport. And now did I remove that option? Affect navigation, where is it? Okay, so let's place this character right here. And you see the AI character moves away from the player, didn't bump into it.
Yes, yes.
Let me change the default pawn class back to the spectator so we can inspect this. Oh wait, I need to disable processing. Now we can inspect this, what's going on here. Oh wait, when we play we are going to the start location. If I remove it, the game will start playing from the location that I have the camera at the moment. See, now character is going around. Let's see what happens if
Yes.
we disable this option. Now the even under the character it's green. See, now it bumped into the character.
Yes. It's hitting character now.
Did you see that?
Yes.
See?
Nice.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
right. I think it's better to leave that option enabled, but the problem with this is, now this is since this is a character, it will be moving around the level, and when the character is moving around, and if that character is affecting the nav mesh, in the runtime we have to modify the navigation mesh, which can give some which could be hard on CPU, like it would increase the processing power required for the game, but
Okay.
I don't think one character would make much of a difference. So, but if we have like thousands of characters, that could be a problem, right?
Mm. Like as we can give to a main lead character like Assassin's Creed, like
Yeah.
yeah. Yes, nice.
Right. Actually, you have to consider the number of dynamic obstacles you have in the world and how you generate the AI paths. So you have to
Yes,
consider all that.
yes.
Okay, phone and phone character. Yeah, I think we talked enough about the character already. So this is back to basics, like, so this is basically a character. We have capsule, we have an arrow component. This represents the forward of direction of the character, and it's not visible when we play the game. So one tip, so when you are in the level, if you press G, it will show like how it is rendered in the game time. It hides all these other, this capsule or anything else that we need for the editor time, and it will hide them all and show us the game view, only things that we see in the game. Yeah, in the character we have the character movement class, character movement component. If I go to the third person character, you can see the character movement component here, and when you select it you can see the general settings: gravity scale, max acceleration, break-in friction factor, crouched half height, mass, default land movement, everything. So for now, under character movement walking, 600 is the max walking speed. Let's try 200. If I set this to 200, and now you see even the NPC character is walking very slowly.
Yes.
And if I process this character, you can see it is slowly walking. So yeah, just like that you can use the character movement settings to modify the behaviors.
Like how we can add animation, like right now it's walking, for running we need different animation like that.
Yeah, actually if you go to the animation blueprint of this third person character
Yes.
and go to the anim graph,
Mm-hmm.
this is the default state machine.
Yes.
Here we have different states for
Mm.
running and idle, jump
I
and
have,
jump loop. Inside here,
so in
uh,
that component we want to add idle, walk and run.
yeah, so this is called a blend space. If you double click it,
Yes.
you can open it. So here we have like three different animations. This is the running animation, this is walking animation, this is idle animation, and we have named this axis. This is a one-dimensional blend space. If you go to the asset details, this horizontal axis is named as speed. Minimum value is 0, maximum axis value is 375, and we have 4 divisions. So we can change this speed value in the runtime. In the animation blueprint, you see we have insert calculated the speed. We are getting it from the character blueprint and insert using that as the parameter value. So when the
Yes.
speed is 0, the character stays idle, and if I change the speed to like 50, you can see character is walking 100, walking a little faster, 300, it's running.
Yes.
See?
Yes.
Okay, and this is just a preview, but we do calculate this value in the runtime like this. So we get a reference to the pawn owner. That means the pawn used pawn that is used in this animation blueprint. So it will give a reference to the character blueprint in this case, and then from the character blueprint we can get the velocity of the character. So it returns a vector, and from the vector we can calculate the vector length. That means the magnitude of the vector, and we are using
Vector
that value as the speed.
into speed. I have one more question. Like for walk, we will be using WSD,
Yeah.
and for run, we will be adding shift. When we add a shift, then our character start running. So where we
um
can add the keyboard shift?
right, so actually the way event this the way input movement input is working like this.
Yes.
So let's say, let me add a multiplier here
Okay.
only for move forward. So when I press W, I will receive 1 as the axis value, because that's the way I have set it up.
Yes. Yes.
In move
In
forward, where is W? Here, scale
yes.
1.
One.
And if we have like a analog thumbstick, we can have values ranging from 0 to 1. If we move a little bit the
Okay.
thumbstick, it will give like 0.1,
Uh,
and if I move it fully forward we will get 1.
One. Understood. Yes.
Right, now if I multiply this by, let's say, 0.5, so instead of 1 we will have the scale 0.5, and let's see what happens. Now it's working slowly, right?
Yes.
And oh wait, did I keep the maximum value as 300? No, it is 600, right?
Hmm.
So 0.5 means I guess we are running on 300
300.
value.
Yes.
But if according to this blend space, we have used the working speed at it's 93.5.
Yes.
So let me use the calculator. If we want to have that exact movement, 93.5 divided by 600, that means 0.15.
155. Yes.
155.
Yes.
So we can use 0.155 here. Now it should be working. Let's see. Yeah.
Yes.
And for S and D, or for D and A, we haven't used the multiplier, so
Yes.
that's
Yes.
why it's using the full speed.
Okay.
Now here we can do something like this. If you just want to use the shift only,
Yes.
shift, see, is left shift down.
Yes.
So let me collapse this to a macro so we can have some space.
Okay.
And I'll name it is running. Oh no, run check, that would be more appropriate. Now, right, if the left shift is down, so we can basically select this value based on a boolean variable. So I'll do a select and connect as the boolean variable is left shift down. So if we have pressed left shift down, we can use this multiplier as 1 because we need to run. If not, we can keep the value as 155, right?
Yes.
Wait, what's this? Oh no, how do we get is left? No, we need to define another input here. Let's add another input, toggle run. Okay, and as
Okay.
the key I'll use shift, left shift.
Okay.
Now we should, let's try toggle run. Did I type it correctly? Toggle run here.
No. Yes.
Okay, now
Yes.
here we have the event, but yeah, this is an action, not an axis. So yeah, okay, here let's define a new boolean variable. This is getting, let's call it is running, and we can set it this way. If we press, I'll set is running to true,
Yes.
and if we release, I'll set is running to false.
False. Yes.
Now in the run check, we can use that variable. Right, now if is running is true, the value will be 1. If is running is false, the value will be 0.15.
Yes. Okay.
Right, now we are not running. I haven't pressed shift. When I press shift, you can see it starts running.
Yes. Started. Yes. Thank you.
Got it?
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. And one more thing,
So,
I have only added the run check for the move forward.
Yes.
So if I add it to the move right as well, the
As
character
for,
will be able to, that will be applied for both axes.
yes.
So right, like this.
can you briefly explain what are macros used for, sir?
Yeah, so macro is used for like So here we define some logic, right?
Yeah.
And if let me expand this again. If a macro is not used, so this is the logic I have basically implemented there, and I need the same logic for the move right axis as well. So if I
Okay.
want to turn this part into a reusable component, into a reusable part of the code of the blueprint, I can simply select these nodes and convert it to a macro, collapse it to a macro. So a
Okay.
macro will be created here, and so I can just drag and drop anywhere I need and reuse it.
So macro is global. Like, can I use it from anywhere in the any other blueprint?
Anywhere in this blueprint.
Okay, only this blueprint.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have one question. Like is run, we have created a function on outside of this gray box, right? Is run is our function, right? We created a function over
Yeah.
here outside. Yes, and then we are using that function in our this another. We are calling it actually, right?
Yeah. Actually,
Then
this is not a function. This is
then
just like a collapsed
uh,
part of code,
yes,
because
run check. I can understand it's a collab, but we are creating that is run, right? On
this one, you
yeah.
mean the it's not a function. You mean this one, toggle
Yes,
run.
this yes toggle run.
This is an action event.
Okay.
You mean like
Okay.
we have jump action, we have actually that's handbrake for the car. So this is a
Hmm.
custom action we have defined,
Okay. Yes.
right?
Okay.
Okay.
And we are calling this action over there, like is run.
Yeah, this is an action event. So we can
Hmm.
now and we have defined it in the project.
Project. Yes.
So now if we want to use it in other, let's say for example this here, we
Hmm.
can now use it if we want that action,
Yes.
like
Okay.
is sorry, toggle run.
Toggle run. Yes.
Okay,
Yes. Okay.
great. And what else we have in the slides? Okay, so this is about the pawn vehicle, the pawn vehicle. mm, yeah, if you open this you can see the components related for the vehicle. We have this car mesh and we have the car movement component, vehicle movement component. And just like the character movement component for the third person character, this vehicle movement component defines the vehicle's movement properties. So here we have a mechanical setup, engine setup, max RPM, damping rate, all the things relevant for an engine and a vehicle. Yeah, what else? Okay, HUD. uh, so HUD is heads up display, it stands for heads up display, which is kind of on screen display that provide quick access to important information. The HUD is used in games to display various information to the players such as their score, time, energy, and so on. Okay, so actually we can just draw text into the HUD, or we can use widgets. So of course widgets as well. uh, shall we do some example? Right here we are using the default HUD class, and let's define a custom HUD class like this. I'll call it HUD custom. And yeah, usually like any other blueprint, we have begin play and event tick. Did we have the hierarchy of the HUD? No, right. But I guess HUD is also okay. And in the HUD we have this event receive draw HUD. So this is used to draw the primitives in each frame. The HUD class exists only on client and does not replicate. Well, we only need to see in the HUD, we only need to see the details of our characters, like the local characters player, local characters health or bullet count, stuff like that. So it doesn't make sense to represent show them in the HUD for other players. So that's why this exists only on client and does not replicate. Okay, let's try this event receive draw HUD. And this is a function. I think this will be called in every frame. Let's add the print and print a message into the console to test that. So here, as the HUD class, I will use HUD custom, and when I play, you see drawing HUD is continuously being called. So yeah, and if you go here, see, this is continuously calling. So that means in every frame this function is being called. So in this example, this shows how to draw a text into the HUD. So let's try the same. Draw text and screen position and the scale 0 0. I think 0 0 is top left as the text. Let's just test HUD. I'll remove this print string. Test HUD, text color, let's try red. Scale, okay, we can select a font, but we don't have any fonts, custom fonts, so I think it will use a default font. Right, let's see. Now you see test HUD text is here, right? And if I go full screen, you can see that there. So if I change the screen size to like position to like 100 by 100, now it is here. And I think you might have noticed this distance from the left to the beginning of the text is 100, and distance from the top to the beginning of the text is 100. So this is the location that we have given through as the screen X and screen Y, and this distance is same regardless of the width or the height of the screen. So this is not responsive, as you can understand, right? Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So how can we make this responsive. I think this size X gives us the size of the display.
Oh, display.
Yeah, so let's multiply this by 0.1, and size Y also let's multiply it by 0.1. So if the size X is 100, we will get 10. If size X is 1000, we will get 100. And let's try that. Now it should be responsive. Let's see. Yeah, now when I make it smaller, you can see test HUD is getting closer to the edge. Now that's a responsive design. Okay. HUD exists only on each client and does not replicate, right? And the game instance and game session and summary, right?
Sorry to interrupt again.
Yeah, sure.
Like for HUD, if we want to add our art, like some health bar or something like that, so how to call it over there? Because it's
Yeah. So actually
like
this is not really the way we usually create HUDs. So this is like like how to render it through code. So we have these widgets under user interface. We have widget blueprints. I'll call it WDG health bar, and now we have a visual way to create HUDs.
yes,
So for health bar, I think we can have a progress bar. Let me place one here, and as the percentage I'll use 80% so we can see the health bar. And using these anchors we can actually make it responsive. I'll set it the anchor to the top bottom left, position 100, and position Y minus 100, because upwards from here it should be minus. Size X I'll give 500, size Y 40. Right, now in order to add this to the HUD, in the HUD class in the begin play we can use this one, create widget function, and as the widget class we can select WDG health bar, and we can add, but just creating that widget will not start rendering, so we have to add it to the viewport. Right, now when we play the game you can see
yes,
the health
yes,
bar.
yes, yes.
It's not dynamic or anything, but that's
Yeah,
how you make it.
yes. Okay. Okay.
And how to connect this to actual player's health, and how to make it as the player get hurt, how to reduce it. Well, it will take another session to discuss those things.
Okay. No problem. No problem.
Yeah, all right. So
So in the widget blueprint, what about scaling, sir? Like,
here,
if you're deploying it to a mobile,
yeah,
the widget sometimes gets scaled very differently on all different mobiles. Like,
yeah.
and
So actually let's say I want this health bar, I want it to be in the bottom middle. So I
okay,
can set the
thank you.
anchor first like this, and let's move it down, and I'll set the alignment to 0.5 by 0.5. Then the origin of this object will be considered as this middle point. If I keep it 0 by 0, this will be the middle point or the pivot. If I use 0.5 by 0.5, this will be the pivot of this object, right?
Yeah.
And as the position, if I set 0, now it will move here for the x, and if I set 0 to y, it will move here. Okay?
Yeah.
Right, now if I play, it will be in the middle, even if I make it large or small. But you can see, now it does not get scaled. The size remains same, but the position changes. If you want to make it scaled also, what you can do is, you can change these anchors like this. If I set it like this, and top anchor here and the bottom anchor here, set it like this, and then these things becomes to offsets, change to offsets. So now set all offsets back to 0. Oh, we are still playing the game. Yeah, need to stop it. Okay, and compile. Now you see, when I change the scale of the screen, the scale is also changing. See?
Okay, yeah. Got it.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
right.
Hi, Kalina.
Yes.
Actually, this one the visual scripting, right? This all we already the C++ classes already is there. We take that notes and we whatever logic we developed and we have to do this. I want to edit the code. Can you show me the where is that API is there?
Edit. You want to edit? I'm not clear.
This all the visual scripting, right? We take that all cross components and we have to build a logic and we give it to return what are inputs and outputs and all.
Yeah,
Visual
yeah,
scripting, right?
yeah.
This same kind of way I want to go into the C++ class. I want to modify directly there only. How can I set up that all the things and all?
Yeah, you mean like how to set up an input to the widget?
Not widget. C++ class is there already. Character class is there. Form class is there. I want to edit that code and I want to compile it. Automatically, it will be reflected in our these all classes, no?
Still not clear.
Okay. Actually, this all the visual scripting for using here artist is there. That very flexible. That's why that Unreal people is developed this all visual scripting, right?
Visual scripting.
Yeah, visual scripting is a
Yeah,
blueprints.
yeah.
I don't want to write any blueprints. I want to write in code in directly C++. I want to
Okay,
modify in code C++.
okay.
How can I set up that all the things or not?
You mean the widgets?
Uh,
Uh,
I think he's asking like he don't want to go and he don't want to follow the process of blueprint.
mm,
He wants to create a project which will be directly linked with our C++. He don't want to use blueprint.
all right. So yeah, actually, when you create a project, a new project, you can select it. Let me. Here, when you go create a project, select
Okay.
games and select whatever the template.
Okay.
Oh wait, yeah, here I have selected blueprint, so you can select C++
Okay.
if you want.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't think we have enough time to go into C++, but I can throw you quickly some tutorial I have made on C++. Let me check it. Play is this? Yeah, this one. I'll put it into the chat.
Yeah.
Here.
Okay. Thank you. I'll follow this thing.
Okay, so we have two more slides, so I'll just quickly go through them. So game instance. Uh, an instance of the game instance class is created at the beginning of the game and only removed when the game is closed. So like when in a game we have different levels where it can be based on missions. So yeah, when we progress through a story, so when we complete one mission, another level will be destroyed, another level will be loaded if you are, and one level will be destroyed or unloaded. And if we are using an open world setting, that would be a different story. But so when you unload and load a level, all the level objects in one level will be destroyed and created for the next level. So when that happens, let's say you keep some parameters such as all the, let's say, playtime. You start recording the playtime and keep it in some actor object in this level, and when you open the next level, that object will not be available. So if you want to keep something like that, you can use this game instance class. So game instance class will be created when we start the game, and when we load another level, it will not be unloaded. It will remain in the memory, and it will only be destroyed when we close the game.
Can you just give an example, like just create a one platform, so and one trigger.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if our
sure.
character is approaching that trigger, it will spawn in that platform, and this level would be destroyed.
Okay, let's create. Let me save this map. I'll call it as new map. And let's go back to the third person example. And let's create a trigger. Uh, let's call it level loader. I'll add a collider, a box collision. Make it twice the size. And when we create a collider, we have this on component begin overlap. So here we can get a reference to the actor, and we need to make sure that if this is the player, because there are other actors, I think we only need to load the object, load the next level when the player is colliding with the other actor, this collider. But for now we only have the player, so it's fine. So here let's just do open level by name, and the level name we used is new map. And compile. Now let's drag and drop level loader here. I'll keep the visibility of the box on so that we can see when we are playing the game. Right, now let's go over here. See, now the next level is loaded. And
Yes.
for that level we didn't really specify game mode or anything, so it is using the spectator game mode as the default option. And I said we can keep, okay, let's create a custom game instance too. Boyfriend class game instance, let's call it custom game instance. Custom game instance, right? And here let's add a variable game started at. So here let's turn this into a float value, and in the begin, oh, we don't have a begin play, right? Now in the third person character, no, in this level blueprint, here we have a begin play, right? Now we can get game instance, right? Before that we need to specify which game instance we want to use. So I'll use this custom game instance. Okay,
Okay. And we are getting again from project setting, right? Project
yeah,
setting
yeah,
and
project
okay.
settings, maps and mods, game instance. And then where is the level blueprint? Now we need to cast this to custom game instance, or we can set up an interface, but that will take time, so I'll just cast this and set game started at time, and I'll use this variable game time since creation and set this like this. Okay, and also I'll print game started at, and whatever the value we have here, right? Compile, game started at 00, and then let's open the other map. First let me copy this part, begin play part of the level blueprint of the third person map, save, right? Now here, and let me open again the level blueprint and paste. Now here I'm not going to set this value, I'm going to read that value. Oh wait, yeah, what's the variable name I used? Game started at, and of course it will be 0. Okay, since this is 0, it doesn't make sense, so let's have a different variable. Let's call it current level name, and I'll set it as string. Now let's just call it level name. I just want something that makes sense when we read from another level, so that the value we saved is still there. Right, so let's get level name and print it. Let's use it as previous level name. Use this. Okay, now let me go back to the third person blueprint and save, and let me open the level blueprint again, and I'll set level name, set level name. I'll call it TPS map, set it as TPS map. Right, now this is what should happen when I'm in this level. I'm setting the variable in this custom game instance level name as the TPS map, right? And when I go to the next level, previous level name is TPS map. Did you see that is being printed here? Was that clear?
Yes, yes, we got
Okay,
it.
right. Let me keep it like a few more seconds. We can clearly see that. Wait. Alright, now when I start playing from this new map, previous level name, there is nothing. So as the default value, let me set some value, not set. So we will get, when I play, previous level name not set. Okay,
Yes.
now if
So till now it is existing. It is not been destroyed, right? If we are getting not set, so right now our previous level is not destroyed. It's
yeah,
still on.
we
Yes.
haven't loaded, we are not coming from another level. That's what
Okay.
it means. Now here,
Okay.
if I start from the level 1 and go here, now previous level name is TPS map, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so what I want to highlight is, like, even when we are loading another level, what we already have in the game instance will be persistent throughout different levels. So yeah, you can use this to store maybe stuff like, if the ammo count should persist through the levels, you can save the ammo count there, or actually you can use save files as well, but for an example. Okay, that's about game instance, and the next thing is game session. Simply stated, a game session is an interface for a game running on a server that clients can use to discover and join the game. So this is for multiplayer, and these are some functions related to that. And yeah, I don't think I can do an example here, it will take some time to set up. So yeah, so that's the game. Basically the game session class is for, right? And this is the summary. This lecture presented the gameplay framework classes and the relationship between some common classes. It showed how to process a pawn using a controller and how to draw simple information using HUD class. And with that, we can stop today's session. Alright guys, so before we wind up, any more questions?
Can we get this video recording?
Yeah, sure. I will upload and post the link in that WhatsApp group.
Yes, please, please.
Great. Okay, any more questions?
Actually, I have a lot of questions, but again, like I have to go through all these things, and if you have your personal mail, I can just drop you all those queries again.
Yeah. Actually, you can use. I am in that WhatsApp group. You can
WhatsApp,
ask
yes,
there
I'll
too.
use it. I
Yeah.
will use it.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Thank
that
you. Thank you.
others also, if have the same problems,
Yes.
they can see that too. So
Yes. Yes.
right, right. Okay, okay. So any more questions? So shall we stop for the day?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Delina. Thank you, wonderful
Okay,
session.
okay, great. So yeah, thanks for joining, and we
Thank you.
will
Thank you
see
very much.
in another session. Let's see about that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
right,
Okay,
have a nice day and
okay.
Thank you
goodbye.
very much. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.